Good day everyone, my name is Kaylee Jana De Villa from BSHM1D. So for today's video, I will explain the 4 case study. So the first case study number 1 is where did the first Catholic Mass take place in the Philippines. The history of the Philippines is a tapestry woven with diverse threads shaped by the intersections of cultures, religions, and global explorations. Among the pivotal moments in the archipelago's history is the celebrations of the First Catholic Mass, a momentous event that occurred on March 31, 1521 on Homonhon Island. This case study delves into the historical context, the details surrounding the First Mass, and its profound impact on the Philippines. Early 16th century was marked by a fervent era of explorations, and the Philippines became a focal point as a Spanish explorer. Ferdinand Magellan embarked on a journey around the world, motivated by a desire to find a westward route to the Space Island. Magellan's expeditions carried implications that would extend far beyond his initial objectives. In March 1521, Magellan and his crew was made landfall on the shores of Homonhon Island, an unassuming but historically significant location in the western Visayas region of the Philippines. The island, with its lush landscape and tranquil shores, served as the stage for a moment that would reverberated through centuries. Amid the fervent scenery of Homonhon Island, Father Pedro de Valderrama, a Spanish friar accompanying Magellan's expeditions, conducted the first Catholic Mass in the Philippines. The details of this religious ceremony, with its significance and solemnity, mark a watershed moment in the country's history. The indigenous people, witnesses to this unfamiliar spectacle, experienced the introductions of the new faith that would profoundly shape their cultural and religious landscape. Homonhon Island selections as the site for the first Mass was not arbitrary. The island's strategic location and its serene beauty may have played by a role in Magellan's decisions. Moreover, the choice reflected the navigational challenges of the expeditions and the needs for respite and provisions. The first Mass on Homonhon Island was not merely a religious ceremony, it was a catalyst for change. The introduction of Christianity to the Philippines initiated a cultural and religious transformations. The beliefs, rituals, and traditions of the indigenous people were intertwined with the doctrines of Catholicism, creating a unique vision that would shape the identity of the Filipino people. The impact was not confined to religious practices. It permeated various aspects of Philippine society, churches, convent, and religious institutions proliferated across the archipelagos, leaving an indelible mark on the landscape. The fusions of indigenous practices with Catholic rituals gave rise to a syncretic cultures that remain a defining characteristic of Filipino identity. The first Mass on Homonhon Island was prelude to the wider disseminations of Catholicism across the Philippines. Subsequent expeditions and missionary efforts further solidified the presence of the Catholic Church in the archipelago. The church became an influential institution, shaping not only religious life but also playing a role in education, governance, and social structures. In conclusions, the first Catholic Mass on Homonon Island stand as a pivotal moment in Philippine history. Beyond its religious significance, the event marked the beginning of a complex interweaving of culture, living and enduring legacies that resonated in the Philippines today. Homonon Island, its serene shores, witnesses a historical transformations that forever altered the course of the nations, making it a beacon in the historical narrative of the Philippines. Case study number 2, what happened in the Cavite Munity. The Cavite Munity of 1872 is a significant chapter in the history of the Philippines, representing a pivotal moment of dissent and unrest during the Spanish colonial period. This case study delves into the historical context, event leading up to the Munity, its unfolding, and the enduring impact it had on the trajectory of Philippine history. In the late 19th century, the Philippines was under Spanish colonial rule. The socioeconomic conditions were characterized by inequality, exploitations, and a growing sense of discontent among both the indigenous population and the First World Creole class, known as the Ilustrados. The propagations of liberal ideas and nationalist sentiment from Europe further fueled the desire for reform and change. Several factors contributed to the volatile atmosphere leading to the Cavite Munity. The rise of Filipino nationalism coupled with the exposures to liberal ideologies inspired a generation of Filipinos to seek political and social reform. The secular clergy, notably the Filipino priests who were educated in Europe, played a crucial role in disseminating these ideas. In addition to the ideological ferment, issues such as oppressive policies of the Spanish fear, high taxations for labor, and discriminatory treatment of Filipinos in various sectors fueled discontent among the populace. The political awakening of Filipinos combined their desire for representations and justice, set the stage for a tumultuous period in the Philippine history. On January 20, 1872, a Munity erupted at the Spanish arsenal in Cavite, a Spanish southwest of Manila. The Munity was led by Filipino soldiers known as Militares Indigenas of local troops. The militaries, primarily composed of the Guardia de Honor, a battalion of Filipino soldiers, seized the arsenal in an attempt to demand reform and voice their grievances against the oppressive colonial system. The Munity, however, was short-lived. Spanish authorities swiftly quelled The uprising led to the arrest of hundreds of Filipinos suspected of involvement. The aftermath of the unity was marked by a series of trials in which the accused faced harsh penalty, including executions, deportations, and imprisonment. While the Cavite Munity did not achieve its immediate goals, it had far-reaching consequences. The Spanish authorities used the incidents to justify a crackdown on dissent and reinforcements for their control over the archipelagos. The suppressions of the Munity intensified the atmosphere of repressions, fostering a climate of fears and distrust. The aftermath of the Munity also prompted the Spanish government to enact more stringent measures to curtail the growing nationalist sentiments, press censorship, restriction of public gatherings, and increased surveillance were implemented to stiff any potential challenges to colonial authority. The Cavite Munity, despite its suppressions, left an indelible mark on the Philippine quest for independence. It served as a catalyst for future revolutionary movement, inspiring later generations of Filipinos to resist colonial oppressions and fight for their rights. The event of 1872 planted the seeds of nationalism and set the stage for the largest struggle for Philippine independence that would unfold to the years to come. In conclusion, the Cavite Munity of 1872 was a critical juncture in Philippine history, highlighting the deep-seated dissatisfaction with Spanish colonial rule and the emergence of nascent nationalist consciousness among Filipinos. While the Munity itself was quashed, its echo reverberated through subsequent decades, contributing to the broader narrative of resistance and the eventual pursuit of Philippines independence. Case study number 3. Did Rizal retract? The life and legacy of Jose Rizal, the national hero of the Philippines, are shrouded in complexity and controversy. One of the most debated aspects of Rizal's life is the question of whether he retracted his writing critical on the Catholic Church and the Spanish colonial government before his execution in 1896. This case study delves into the historical context, the conflicting accounts, and the enduring debate surrounding Rizal's aligned retractions. Jose Rizal, a polymath, writer, and nationalist, play a pivotal role in the Philippine struggle for independence during the late 19th centuries. His literary works, particularly No Limitang Here and El Filibusterismo, critique the oppressive Spanish colonial regime and the corporate bureaucracy. As a result, Rizal became a target of the authorities who sought to quell the growing nationalist sentiments among Filipinos. In 1896, Rizal was arrested by Spanish authorities on charge of seditions, revelations, and conspiracy. He was imprisoned in Fort Santiago in Manila. While awaiting trial during his incarcerations, Rizal continued to exert influence through his writing, correspondence, and engagement with his fellow prisoners. The controversy surrounding Rizal retraction centered on a document known as the Retraction Document or Ultimo Adios. It is claimed that Rizal wrote and signed a retraction of his Catholical sentiments, alignedly disavowing his Masonic belief and expressing regret for the harm his writing may have caused the church. Supporters of the retraction theory argue that it was a sincere act of contrition on Rizal's part, influenced by his desire to reconcile with the Catholic Church and ensure a proper burial. However, skeptics and historians question the authenticity of the retractions, pointing to the circumstances of Rizal's imprisonment, the lack of witnesses, and the absence of the document in Rizal's trial record. The debate over Rizal aligned retraction is marked by conflicting accounts and interpretations. Some scholars argue that Rizal did retract in passing the possibility of coercion or pressure from Spanish authorities. Others contend that the retraction was a fabrication part of a larger effort to discredit Rizal's nationalist ideal and mollify the Catholic Church. The controversy surrounding Rizal's aligned retraction add layer of complexity to his legacy, whether he attracted or not. Rizal's right and ideas had an enduring impact on Philippine history and identity. His martyrdom and the symbolism associated with his executions contributed to the collective consciousness of Filipinos in their struggle for independence. The question of whether Jose Rizal retracted remains a subject of historical debate and speculations. While the authenticity of the retraction document is contested, the controversy adds nuance to the understanding of Rizal's complex relationship with the Spanish authorities and the Catholic Church. Regardless of the debate, Rizal's contributions to the Philippines nationalist movement and his enduring legacies as a symbol of resistance remain integral to the nation's history and identity. Case study number 4. Where did the cry of revelation happen? In the annal of Philippine history, one event stands as a symbolic declarations of independence and the collective yearning of freedom. The cry of revelations at Pugadlawin. This case study delves into the historical context, the dramatic event that unfolded at Pugadlawin, and the enduring significance of this pivotal moment in the struggle for Philippine independence. The late 19th century was a period of profound political awakening and discontent in the Philippines. The oppressive rule of the Spanish colonial government, coupled with social injustices and economic exploitations, fueled the desire for change and autonomy. Key figures such as Jose Rizal and Andres Bonifacio emerged as leaders who inspired a growing sense of nationalism among Filipinos. The Katipunan, a secret revolutionary society founded by Andres Bonifacio in 1892, became a clandestine force working toward the overthrow of Spanish rule. The member of the Katipunan or Katipunero sought to unite Filipinos in the quest for independence, employing clandestine meetings, secret rituals, and an underground network to spread their revolutionary idea. On the fateful night of August 23, 1896, a significant turning point occurred in the hills of Pugadlawin, a district in Caloocan, Metro Manila. Andres Bonifacio, with a group of Katipuneros gathered beneath a large balete tree in a symbolic act of defiance and a declarations of war against Spanish tyranny. Bonifacio tore his cedula residence certificate, a powerful gesture denoting a break from colonial allegiance. The atmosphere was charged with revolutionary fervor as Bonifacio, standing amidst his compatriot, passionately urged his fellow Filipino to rise against the oppressive Spanish regime. In an emotional and stirring moment, now famously known as the Cry of Pugadlawin or Cry of Balintawak, Bonifacio symbolically tore the change of oppressions, marking the commencement of a nationwide revolt against Spanish rule. The Cry of Pugadlawin is symbolic not only for its dramatic nature but also for its far-reaching consequences. It served as the catalyst for a series of uprisings across different regions of the Philippines, leading to the full-scale Spanish revolutions against Spanish colonizations. The act of tearing the cedula at Pugadlawin resonated as a call to arms, inspiring Filipino to join the revolutionary cause and seek for determination. The revelations that would blaze across the archipelago, shaping the destiny of the Philippines and inspiring generations in the ongoing pursuit of freedom.